Top 10 museums that you can visit virtually. Have you ever desired to visit the Louvre in Paris or travel to Holland to see the artwork of Vincent van Gogh? Now, you and your circle of relatives can take a first-hand look at the world's masterpieces, historical artifacts, and myriad educational well-known shows while not having to leave your home. Over the past numerous years, more than 1,000 museums and cultural institutions international have partnered with Google to make at least a part of their collections online. The COVID-19 outbreak has only improved the size and scope of those virtual treasures. How do you navigate this full-size quantity of fabric, and what should you be searching out in a free digital museum excursions? Let's test a number of the important things. Before we begin with the video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notifications so that you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. Museums were providing Choose Online collections for many years. However, some has currently partnered with Google to have their exhibits available to be viewed online. Here's a look at the top 10 museums that you can visit virtually. 1. The British Museum. The British Museum shows items spanning a length of some 2 million years ago, from the dawn of human subculture to the present. The tour of the museum gives 360 views of lots of gadgets as they appear within the halls of the museums, as well as prints of the gadgets which can be enlarged and considered in further detail. In addition to the descriptions of every item that appears on Google Arts and Cultures, there may be a link to the British Museum's very own internet site with similar information on every piece, inclusive of curators' notes and descriptions of the way every turned into obtained. The British Museum additionally has a separate online collections, the Museum of the World, which is a partnership with the Google Cultural Institute that functions portions from throughout time and includes audio factor of the items from British Museum curators. 2. The Museum of Modern Art. When it opened in Manhattan in 1929, the MoMA turned into the sector's first ever museum dedicated to the modern-day generations. The museum has sought to remain at the reducing edge of the aid of supplying a large amount of its collections for perusal online. The museum's Google Art and Culture choice is extraordinarily restricted, but its own site is pretty good-sized, showing tens of hundreds of modern art pieces presently on show in the museum for the past reveals. 3. The Smithsonian. A small variety of the Smithsonian Institution's dozens of museums are represented with Google Art and Culture online museum tours, inclusive of the National Portrait Gallery, the American Art Museum, the Cooper Hewitt Smithsonian Design Museum, and the Museum of Natural History, and the Freer-Sackler Museums of Asian Art. For a 360 panoramic view of the Natural History Museum, you could pass immediately to the Smithsonian website or Google Arts and Culture. The Natural History Museum's well-known shows is especially remarkable in panoramic view. The American Art Museum is minimally represented on Google Art and Culture as well, with a minimum of 360 excursions and most effective a couple of hundred pieces of artwork. There is a much wider range of portions available at the museum's very own internet site. 4. The Louvre. The Louvre is one of the most well-known and visited art museums on Earth, and even as its online presence might not be as sturdy as a few other museums, you may nonetheless view pieces from the comfort of your own home. The museum does not display gadgets on Google Arts and Cultures, nor are you able to see panoramic views on the platform from inside the museum. However, you may genuinely discover the grounds of the museum where numerous brilliant statues and pieces of paintings are living. For panoramic perspectives of the museum's interior, you will have to go to the Louvre's personal website where there are a few loose virtual museum excursions to be had. However, the navigations isn't always as seamless as Google's navigations. You also can find some of the gadgets displayed on the Louvre website online. However, the descriptions are in French only. 5. The Metropolitan Museum of Art. This commemorated New York landmark has a totally respectable display on Google Arts and Cultures with a virtual tour that helps you to stroll through the museum's halls as if you were there, and several hundred objects on the show from artwork to historical style portions. Many of the gadgets include audio descriptions to be had through an external link to the museum's very own website, which impressively hosts a few 450,000 gadgets. 6. The Guggenheim. The Guggenheim doesn't provide a massive quantity of portions of Google Arts and Culture. However, the pieces it does offer have outside hyperlinks to its very own website, wherein there's an extraordinary quantity of records on each. The current artists, which are part of the museum's UBS Map Google Art initiative, have contributed video portions about their art as nicely. The panoramic views of the museum on Google Arts and Culture delivers an excellent illustrations of what the museum has to provide. 7. The Uffizi Gallery. This Italian gallery's digital tour is a dream for aficionados of Renaissance art. You can effortlessly navigate through the museum, and the hallways of the gallery are plush with statues and artwork. The gallery has quite a few objects on Google Arts and Culture. However, they are some of the world's most famous works, and they may be an excellent quantity of information on every piece. 8. The Rijksmuseum. Are you inquisitive about the art of the Netherlands and the Dutch Golden Age? The Rijksmuseum is in simplest the preeminent supply of such art, but it is also the maximum properly represented museum of any type on Google Arts and Culture. With extra than 150,000 gadgets on display, consisting of works via Rembrandt and Vermeer, you may get a full education in Dutch artwork history from your laptop. The street view navigations of the stunning grounds of the museum is likewise most of the maximum stunning of any museum. No other museum has embraced the possibilities of Google Arts and Culture Extra, so that the Rijksmuseum. 9. The Getty Museum. The digital explorations of this Los Angeles museum is outwardly countless. Not simplest are there more than 15,000 gadgets to peruse. However, the descriptions of the pieces are many of quality, and numerous objects additionally include audio motifs. The indoor 360-degree perspectives of the well-known show are stunning and expansive. The best criticism you can make is that the panoramic perspectives don't expand outdoors to the museum's gardens and extraordinary views of the City of Angels. 10. The Van Gogh Museum. This Amsterdam museum hosts the biggest series of works from the published Impressionist master. The panoramic views of the museum are excellent. However, the descriptions accompanying the paintings are minimum. The digital Van Gogh Museum enjoys its gear extra closer to people who are familiar together with his work than first-timers seeking to learn about his method and history. There is an outside link to the museum's YouTube page presenting video causes of some of his most well-known works. The identical generations, which powers Google Street View, permitting customers to look at panoramic views of neighborhoods worldwide, has been taken indoors to a number of the world's top museums. However, filming of the places and museums portions from a couple of angles is a time-consuming technique that calls for considerable resources, and therefore no longer every museum gives the identical scope of 360 views. Some of the virtual museums will provide you with only a small examine what their grounds look like, at the same time as others provide you to roam freely, giving greater feeling of what is in reality like to be there. Prior to the appearance of the panoramic fashion virtual tours that Google Arts and Culture gives those days, a number of the top museums displayed online collections on their personal websites. Some of these museums nevertheless offer prolonged online collections to complement the gadgets they make viewable on Google Arts and Culture. This is a pleasing addition for those looking to take a deep dive into a particular collections. The pieces aren't constantly displayed at the identical pleasant that Google Arts and Culture offers, but they provide you with a first-rate view of the show-off items. Let us hear your thoughts in the comment sections below and follow us for more updates. Thank you for watching.